there have been times where it's like, all right, I want to push a little bit harder on this or that, and I can't really do that, so I have to come back. And I think that I've tried to walk that line, obviously, with with Carrie, with the boys, still trying to stay as involved as I possibly could. But even still, like, they're starting to get older now, to the point that they're playing sports and that type of thing. And even, in this build up to this one, there were certain things where, Braxton would have a soccer game or something and I could not go because I had to train. And that was a very hard choice for me. If I could go, I would, but there were certain times where I simply could not. Yeah. Right. And that's a hard thing. And with them being younger, that was really never a part of the equation. I wasn't missing anything. Right. And I feel like now, especially maybe in this last year or two, I have had to miss things, which is not fun for me. I don't like that. It's not a good feeling to have to be like, well, I'm going to miss. But I tried to channel it into a way where I was working hard. I was like, all right, I'm going to make this sacrifice now to be better. And in turn, it's going to come back. And now I want to be able to kind of shift gears and in a way, be competitive with my boys too, right? And help them to be competitive. And I think that's going to channel some things for me. But personally speaking, I think it's going to be very important for me to also remain competitive in something, right? Because I don't thrive on not being competitive. I don't. And you know that about me. It's just the way it is, right? So I'll pick something different. Obviously, you and I have talked about different things, and I've thought about different things as well. And I think that it's now an open door. The way that I see it is kind of like, okay, one chapter is closed, right? Like, I closed that one chapter, and people have asked me about, oh, well, now you could go, compete in Masters or something like that. I have no,
and gain what?
Exactly. But I have no desire.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's neat that they offer that to people and that type of thing. But like, in my mind, I want to be at the top of the mountain. I want to be the best, right? So I want to compete against the best. I want the best competition, and that's what I've thrived on. So to step away from, I'm competing against the absolute best in the world every time I compete, that's what I wanted, right? To go and compete now in a subcategory, Masters category, it just that would not drive me. And it's very hard to explain. It's very hard to explain that to people, I think, that haven't been at the top, right? If you haven't been at the top, consistently at the top, and not to say that there's guys that haven't gone and competed in Masters that have been at the top, because there have been, but for me, it wouldn't fill my cup up, and I can't answer the question for them. I can't, right? But it in no way, shape, or form right now does that excite me at all, right? Like, I think I'm happy to go out on top. I'm happy to go out, with a win and close that chapter. And this chapter is complete of my life story, if you will, right? Like I'm good with that. And now we can open up this new chapter, write this new chapter with a bunch of other things that I could do. And I don't know exactly what those things will be, and I think that's okay to not know, but also I have ambitions of doing a lot more versus like, hey, I'm done competing and that's all I have. That's all I ever was. And I think that, for some athletes, depending on what they have planned after they're done competing, that can be really hard, because if you put all your eggs in that basket and that's all that you have is that competing, nothing else is set up on the backside, nothing. And then that's taken away.
Yeah.
Right. And especially even if they don't retire, this is even harder.
Yeah.
You're forced to retire. Right. So you don't even call your shot. It's like, hey, I maybe you sustained a bad injury and now you're done. And it's like one instant you're at the top or competing, and then you're injured and now you're done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's I would feel like even harder, because you don't have time to kind of say, hey, I'm going out on my own terms. So it's what you have set up on the backside. And I think that's why you see even some of the best, like you said, the best of the best get done, and their whole identity is them as an athlete competing, and that's what they've dedicated their entire life to.